Hi, my name is Lorenzo Azar Banks, here on behalf of Minority Report Law Office here in Oklahoma City. And today I was doing another video response to a question that we had posted to our Facebook page. And I felt this one was particularly important because of the many misconceptions about the law of police stops here in Oklahoma. And the question was, does an officer have the right to ask me to exit my vehicle during a routine traffic stop? Now, I know with every other video that I've posted thus far that I was able to bring you good news, that I was able to tell you all of the protections that the law afforded you. Unfortunately, on this one, I don't bring good news. I bring bad news. The law is actually against you. The answer to the question is yes. The officer can ask you to get out of the car during a routine traffic stop. But the misconception is, I hear people say, well, I heard from a friend or I heard from a family member that I don't have to get out of the car, that I can say no. And I think they are misconstruing that with the idea that you have the right to refuse to let an officer search your vehicle if he or she asks you to. You have a right to refuse that, but the officer does have the right to ask you to get out of the car during a routine traffic stop. And if you do not comply with that order, you may find yourself in the back of a squad car headed downtown. Now, you do have a right to say no, you cannot search the interior of my car. And it's so important that I'll be doing a follow-up video to that in another installment of this series. But bottom line, you can be asked to get out of the car during a routine traffic stop. So here's some law to back up what I'm saying. The United States Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and the decisions they render are the supreme law of the land, which means that it applies to everyone within the United States. And a case came before the U.S. Supreme Court called Pennsylvania versus Mims. And in that case, in 1977, it was a case about Pennsylvania police officers who pulled over a car for having expired tags. They asked the driver to get out of the vehicle for no reason. There was no suspicion whatsoever. They just asked him to get out. Well, once he stepped out of the vehicle, they seen a large bulge. They proceeded to do a pat down and found that he had an illegal firearm underneath his jacket. He was arrested immediately. A case ensued, and the U.S. Supreme Court had to answer this question. When an officer asks you to exit a vehicle during a routine traffic stop, does it violate your Fourth Amendment rights against illegal search and seizure? The U.S. Supreme Court said no. Why? Because what it was paramount to the U.S. Supreme Court was safety. Safety, police safety. The U.S. Supreme Court said that the officers have the right to ask you from the vehicle just for safety purposes. That is, to see what the occupants of the vehicle are doing. And they also intimated that officers should be able to ask individuals in the car over to the side of the road, away from oncoming traffic, and continue the police stop there to minimize the chances of being hit by a coming car. Now, this rule was also extended to not only the driver of the vehicle, but also to passengers of the vehicle in a case called Maryland versus Wilson in 1997 by the U.S. Supreme Court. So, the law says that the police officer can not only ask the driver to get out of the car, but they can also ask every occupant of the vehicle, all the passengers, to get out of the car as well. Why? For safety. It matters not whether or not we agree with what the U.S. Supreme Court says or their reasoning of why they said it. What matters is that this is the supreme law of the land, and it applies to all of us. So there's three major things that I want you to take away from this video. Number one, if you're stopped in your vehicle, the officer may ask you as the driver and every occupant of the vehicle to exit the vehicle. And if you do not comply with that order, you may find yourself being arrested. Not to be confused with number two, which is, if an officer asks you, can he search the interior of your vehicle, you have the right to refuse that officer's request. And number three, if there is in fact an issue with the stop that you feel is illegal, do not try to fight that battle with the officer on scene. You comply with the officer's orders, you cooperate, and after that stop is over, you call an attorney, and we'll fight that battle for you. Don't try to win the battle on the side of the road. Let an attorney win it for you in court where it's proper. I'm trying to keep you out of a jail cell. Once again, my name is Lorenzo Azar Banks, here on behalf of Minority Report Law. You can reach us at minorityreportlaw.com, or you can catch us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/MRLawOffice. Please take this information, apply it, and stay tuned. I'm going to be giving some more information about police stops here in Oklahoma. We'll see you next time.